together with Earle Sports Bets. Yeah, the twins, they be checking in, stacking up. Green is the scene that you're stepping in. Winning is a trend, and we stay making dollars. Nerd talk with the sports bet scholars. Yeah. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies.
We are live. Welcome, guys, back to another edition of the Earle Sports Bets Show. I'm Timothy Earle. Nick will be here in a couple minutes. He was getting out of class just a little bit late, but I figured I'd start up the show so we can kind of keep it on a good little schedule here today. We've got 5 NBA games on the docket, and I believe I checked the NHL card. It was pretty much everybody playing. So it's going to be a decent show. Before we jump into all of that, let's go ahead and look at what happened yesterday, what went right, what went wrong in the world of sports betting. On the site, we went 5 and 5, and we were up 22, up 0.22 units. It was one of those kind of just whatever days. Detroit Pistons got it done outright yesterday versus the Celtics. The Pistons continue to look really good. And you know what? Good for them. And they've been making me a bunch of money. So let's keep rolling, Pistons. Let's keep rolling. The over in the Temple game, I could have gotten it. It was this close. Yes, I know it landed at 144 when it was at 152 and a half. They made a buzzer beater to win the game. No buzzer beater, and it would have went to overtime and it would have cashed. It is what it is. We did sweep the board with the NBA because the Atlanta Hawks took care of business, whooping up on the the Heat took care of business, whooping up on the Hawks. They won it by 22 points. So nicely done there. Unfortunately, Memphis only won by 12 and not 13 in college basketball. That was a loser. Drake wins, but only by 4, not more than 8.5. That was a loser. If I took the spread on Oklahoma, I would have cashed. I took the money line. They lose by 1. The Avalanche -1 was a winner for Nick, but the Kings in overtime was a loser. So Nick ends up splitting out in hockey. Ohio State was a winner. They win by 5 over USC, and SMU was a winner. They win by 4 over Cal. Slightly profitable day. Ready to keep on rolling. We got 5 plays up for college basketball today, and at least 1 play so far with the NBA. And I'm not sure how much more I'm going to get to after that. So we'll see. What's up, fellas? Went 5-1. Like the Panthers today. You like the Panthers today? Let's see who the Edmonton Panthers versus Edmonton. If you're gonna take it, you got to puck line it. Yeah, well, you don't have to puck line it, but it'd be more fun to puck line it. We'll jump into a little bit of NBA while Nick is on his way home, so that by the time Nick gets home, he can talk some hockey. We'll start off with the Wizards and the Magic. The Wizards are 5-point road favorites, 211.5, 211 area for the total. We look at the two sides. Golden State is 31 and 27. They are 30-27-1 against the spread, 29 and 29 over under record with a 14 and 14 road record. On the opposite side, you got the Orlando Magic, who are 29 and 31. They're 28-31-1 against the spread, 22 and 38 towards the under with a 18 and 12 home record. Golden State's actually been playing better as of late. They've won 4 straight games, 6 out of 7. Their only loss was to Dallas. So they've looked better as of late. On the opposite side, I cannot really – well, they won 3 out of 5, I guess, Orlando. But Orlando's coming off of a 40-point loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. If I'm going anywhere in this game, I kind of lean towards the Orlando Magic side, just because when you're coming off of getting blown out, it could be a good bounce back spot for you. You know what? I think I'm going to end up pulling the trigger on that one. I was kind of looking at it before the game. I'm going to go ahead and jump on it. Let's go ahead and grab the Orlando Magic here because, I mean, I love rolling with these. It's kind of a system-esque type of play. Whenever a team loses by a lot, and I'll count 40 points as a lot, I'll take them to bounce back the next game. I'm able to get 5.5 on this one. So go ahead. Give me Magic to bounce back after a 40-point loss. Magic plus 5.5 minus 109. What's up, Nicholas Handy? And Nathan Cerna believes in the Magic. Let's keep on rolling with the Magic then. Now, let's go to the hottest team in the NBA, and that is the Denver Nuggets. They're now 4-point favorites against the Bucks, and it's a 240 favorite, 248.5 total. Sorry, in this game. Look at the two sides. You got the Denver Nuggets, who are 38-20. They're 30, 27 and 1 against the spread, 34, 23 and 1 towards the over, 18 and 11 on the road. The Milwaukee Bucks are 33-25 this year. They're 26, 30 and 2 against the spread. They are 28 and 30 towards the under, 19 and 9 at home. This is a Nuggets team that has won 10 out of their last 11 games. This is the Nuggets team you should be expecting the rest of the season. They're going to be a very strong team throughout the rest of the regular season. They are currently tied with the Memphis Grizzlies for the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. I think the Grizzlies have the slight tiebreaker. But this is a Nuggets team that they're starting to really roll. And then you got a Bucks team that, I mean, you know me with the Bucks. Although they have won, they won 4 in a row and then lost to Houston in their last game. I could see this one as another one of those kind of black games for the Bucks. I think the Nuggets continue their hot streak, and I think the Nuggets continue to roll towards. They're not going to get the number 1 seed. I'm never saying that because they're 9 games back of the Thunder, but I think they'll get a 2 seed and take care of business. So go ahead, give me the Nuggets here. I got 3.5. It's up to a 4 now, but give me Nuggets minus 3 and a hook. Yo, what's up, Audrey? We got good morning from Mr. Nathan Cerna. What's up, Nathan? A suppness from Lex. What's up, Lex? Let's get it. Spicy chicken nuggets money line. Yes. Well, it's a little bit expensive. That's minus 170. Take the minus points. Joker triple double. I mean, I feel like that's an obvious one. I still bet that every single game. Sorry, even when I don't say I do, I always have Joker triple double on my card. It's just something I always bet. So you already know I'm on your Joker triple double. Now the time they get dialed in. I agree. And you're going to just see a resurgence from them the rest of the year. So Nuggets take care of business in this one. Let's roll on to the next game, which I'll say the next games are not fun because the smallest favorite is the Lakers at a 3. So this is not going to be a fun end of the card. Got the Hornets and the Mavericks. The Mavericks are 9-point favorites with a total of 225 in this one. It makes sense. Charlotte isn't doing anything right now. They've lost 4 in a row and 7 out of 8. This is a Hornets team that shouldn't be trusted at all. Their only win was against the Lakers, which is hilarious. On the opposite side, you got the Dallas Mavericks, who are coming off of back-to-back losses. One was by 24 to the Golden State Warriors. The other one was to the Lakers. They lost by 8, but covered in that game. They've won They covered in 4 out of 5. So at least they're covering spreads and looking decent that way. But that's as a dogs. Am I going to trust them as a favorite? No. So no trusting the Mavericks here as a big favorite like that. So what I'm going to be kind of just laying off this game between the Hornets and the Mavericks. We'll keep on rolling. Another kind of ugly game. The Pelicans and the Suns. The Suns are an 8.5-point favorite with a total of 236.5 in this one. Two teams that are just kind of struggling lately. The Pelicans are actually on a 2-game winning streak, but they're 3-7 in their last 10. How about the Suns? 2-8 in their last 10. Just a rough stretch for them. Pelicans 15-43, 24, 33-1 against the spread, 31, 26-1 towards the over. They are 4-24 on the road. The Suns are 27-31. They're 37-1 against the spread, 29-27-2 towards the over, and they are 16-11 at home. Should the Suns win this game? Yes, the Suns should win this game. Are they going to cover 8.5 points? I think it's way too many. But in order to do that, I feel like I would have to trust the Pelicans to do anything. And trusting the Pelicans is not something that I want to be doing right now. So when it comes to it, an 8.5-point favorite for the Suns, we're just going to stay off of that one. And we'll end up moving on to the next game. Give me the Vermont Catamounts over NJIT. Let me pull up the thing for you. Where's Vermont versus NJIT? I'm hoping that's a spread. Because we have slight value on Vermont, but it's like less than a point worth of value. So it is not worth betting in our terms. But if you have an angle on that one, fine. Favorite college basketball play. I gave out the under in the VMI game on Picks and Parleys last night with Lenny. So I guess that one would be a good one. And then you're saying something about FAU. Where's Florida Atlantic on here? Florida Atlantic against North Texas. Hey, I like going after the American. Slight value on Florida Atlantic, but it's not really anything enough to bet it. So I don't hate it, but I'm not going after it. We'll head to the final NBA game on the card, and then we'll let Nick get on and because Nick just got in, he'll be able to talk some hockey. Trust me, Nick. I know you just gave me that face. You've got a shit ton of hockey games. You're good.
How many NBA games?
There was 5.
Okay.
Five NBA games. I'm on 2 plays. But we'll end the card with the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are 6.5-point favorites. 227.5 is your total in this one. The Timberwolves coming into this game 32-27. They're currently in a play-in spot, a half game behind the Clippers. They are also 33-26 to the over, and they're 16-13 on the road. Lakers 35-21. They're 30-25-1 against the spread. 27-29 towards the under. 20-7 at home. And the Lakers are currently sitting in that 5 seed, a half game behind the Rockets, and 4 games ahead of the Clippers. You've got a Minnesota team that is coming off of a huge win, like a big come-from-behind win where I think I saw at one point the Thunder were minus 100,000 to win that game. And the Thunder, the T-Wolves came back and covered that game, which was very annoying because, hey, that's why I don't like big spreads because the big spread wouldn't have worked out there. But you also got the Lakers, 3 wins in a row. off of Portland, Denver, and Dallas. They're looking better, but am I laying 6.5 points on the Lakers? No. Do I want to be betting the Timberwolves? Also, no. So I'll end up ending the card, Nick. I'm going to only have the Magic and the Nuggets.
Sure. I didn't even look at the game, so I'll just pass for it now.
That's fine because you've got a bunch of NHL today. One more. Bryant minus 3.5. What is Bryant doing today? Let's see. Bryant right up top. We actually were very strong towards we had 2.68 points of value on UMass Lowell. In order to bet something, we had to have 3 points of value. But it was almost a UMass Lowell play. Nathan saying on up to Nick, raised by the Wolves. It's raised by the Wolves. Oh, sorry. I got that. That's falling in reverse line now. It's stuck in my head. Thank you. Plus 6.5 on the Wolves. North Texas. We already leaned towards who do you call it? FAU, but I didn't bet it. You took North Texas? Hey, I don't have a strong feeling on it, so I'm not going to tell you yes or no because that one's like less than a point worth of value. How about some hockey, Nick?
Yeah, we'll get started with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Buffalo Sabres. We have the Hurricanes minus 225 favorites in this game now with a total of 6.5. Wow, that total's gone up since last night because when I did a free pick video on this game, the total was 6. Let's talk about it, though. I understand the line movement towards the over, though. I absolutely do. You look at what the Carolina Hurricanes have done since the Four Nations break. How about giving up 10 goals in 2 games? Defensively, this is not the Carolina Hurricanes of the past few years. On the flip side, the Buffalo Sabres, they offensively have actually done pretty well the last 7 games where they've won 6 of their last 7 games. And they've scored 3+ goals in every single one of those, which hints to the free pick video I did last night. I took the team total over for the Sabres. I wanted to take a little bit of money line with them. And maybe if we get plus 205, plus 210 with Buffalo, if this line continues to climb for Buffalo, maybe I might find myself with a little Sabres money line tonight. Because I do think that just the current form of the Buffalo Sabres is much better than what we have seen from the Hurricanes as of late. Because the Hurricanes 2 losses out of the Four Nations break. And heading into the Four Nations break, how about 3 out of 4 they lost? So this team has lost 5 of their last 6 games, and they've given up at least 3 goals in 5 of them. The only one they didn't was that 2-1 loss against Minnesota. So for me, I'm on Buffalo team total over. I understand the move towards the over. I'm seeing some 6s. Like I see a 6 at minus 130 over on BetMGM. I lean over the total in this game, but just the team total over here for me for Buffalo.
Oh, well, I'm going to the game, so I have to have something involved with it, and I'm never going to the game and betting on the Carolina Hurricanes because fuck the Canes. I'm rocking the goat head. I got my Sabres hat on today. Destiny's coming to the game with me, so we'll see how maybe the luck changes. I've seen the Sabres 4 times. The closest they came to winning was losing in overtime. That was heartbreaking. This is a must-win game for the Sabres. Every single game coming up is must-win for the Sabres. Hey, you rolled your eyes, but you look at the schedule. After Carolina, Montreal, and San Jose, those are 3 winnable games. And then they get Tampa, Florida, Edmonton, Detroit, which some of those games are going to be – all these games are very important. But they got if they can keep winning, they have games in hand. I know it's a little bit outlandish, Nick, but
of course it is.
But if you do look at it,
you said Buffalo Sabres and playoffs in the same sentence. So
I never said playoffs, because you look at all the teams ahead of them, going down from the Red Wings to the Sabres on how many games they've played: 58, 58, 58, 58, 59, 58, 59, 57, 50, 60. Sabres 56. They have games in hand against everybody. Nothing's outlandish. This team is looking a lot better. When Dahlin's in the lineup, they look great. So I'm taking Buffalo. Obviously, I'm hoping to see my first win in Carolina. Y'all in the same room? Whenever we're in Greenville, I am. Sabres. Now that's good money. I hope so. Oh, shit. Let's go Wild money line, Ducks money line, Books messing up with the plus monies.
I will be on the Ducks. That is the team I will be on.
I was wondering why, when I was typing up the lines, I was wondering why the Wild were such big dogs.
They are injured right now. They're dealing with a few things.
Interesting. Let's keep on rolling.
Yeah, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Calgary Flames. We have the Lightning minus 215, 220 favorites in this game, total 6 in this spot. Calgary coming in off of a very impressive win in their last game. They went into Washington and took care of business. They won at least 3-1 with Vladar in net, not even Wolf. And that was ultimately what kept me off of the Flames in that last game, was seeing Vladar in between the pipes. Tampa Bay, they're coming in playing some awesome hockey as of late. They've won 6 in a row. They've covered the puck line in 5 in a row. The only game they didn't, they won 4-3 against Ottawa. On the flip side, and their last loss was on February the 1st. So it's been 26 days since the Lightning have lost the game, and that was in overtime, 3-2 to the Islanders. That was the Tony DeAngelo game-winning goal. Calgary playing better out of the break. They really struggled heading into the break. They lost 3 in a row, and they lost 6 of 8 before the break. They've won 2 in a row after the break. Granted, San Jose the first game, but then they went into Washington and won. I think this is a tough spot for them. And I mean, at plus 180, it is appealing to look at Calgary in this game. But for me, it's not a game I'm going to get involved with. But at this number, it would have to be Calgary or no bet.
That's fair. I don't hate that option. Just going after all the dogs. Just going after a bunch of dogs in general today could be a lot of fun, because there's a bunch of big dogs today, including I see one later that's plus 320. Am I going to go after it? No. There are a couple of spots that I was looking at that I might be intrigued to go and bet, but nothing in this game.
That's fair.
By the way, real quick, I did do. I remember yesterday for the NBA with all the big dogs and seeing how they would do if you bet them all. The Sixers lost. The Raptors lost. The Nets blew it and lost.
Mm-hmm.
The Bulls lost. The Jazz lost, and the Spurs lost. So if you would have bet every single dog, you would have lost every single bet on the money line.
Yeah.
The Sixers would have covered. The Toronto Raptors did not. The Nets did. The Bulls did. The Jazz did not, and neither did the Spurs.
I mean, I knew a lot of the favorites won last night other than Detroit, because I threw together because Fanatics gave me a free bet for whatever, because there was some type of error on my account, and I threw together a 5-leg parlay with Thunder money line, Knicks money line. I think the Heat were in there, Clippers, and Pistons for plus 415 at cash.
There you go. I figure I pulled up my notepad and I saw them. Like, let me go check that, and none of them won. It's your chat.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Let's see. Panthers money line, and I like Middle Tennessee plus 2. The Panthers game, that was a tricky one for me. I was kind of leaning Edmonton, but because I do think that the Panthers could be a good little bet against going forward a little bit, but we'll see. Middle Tennessee plus 210.
Middle 10. Wow, they're I mean, less than a half point worth of value on either side, so not really anything to go crazy with.
Fair. Bradley Point Kadri goal. Bradley Point? I have no idea who Bradley is. Braden Point. I mean, yeah, I think Braden Point's still a little underrated. Kadri, yeah. Larkin and Kyrou. I kind of like that Kyrou look. And we'll talk about that in a couple of games where we're getting the Blues as a nice doggy. And I think that they are a bet on team going forward. But let's get into the next one. Columbus Blue Jackets and Detroit Red Wings. Minus 160 for Detroit, total of 6 in this game. I believe this line is dropped nope, it's just wow. Bet openly, it's just that good of a number. Minus 133 on bet openly for the Red Wings, where basically everywhere else is like 155, 160 range. So that's kind of interesting to see there. And we have Detroit coming in playing some pretty good hockey. They're coming in off of a win in their last game. It was a revenge spot in their last game because they had played the Wild 3 days earlier and lost in overtime, blowing a 3-1 lead. They held on to their lead this time. They won 3-2. They have gone to overtime in 5 of their last 8 games for the Detroit Red Wings. So is this a team I can trust on a -1 line? Not particularly. We have on the flip side Columbus. Columbus has been an interesting team. And here's the thing. I am only looking at Detroit in this game, and I kind of want to move on Detroit -1 in this game. One of the big reasons why is, yes, a lot of people love Columbus right now. But where do you want Columbus? At home. They're 19-6-4 at home this year. They're 9-16-4 on the road. They are 10 games better at home than they are on the road. And I think that kind of continues into this spot here, where I think we can see them continue to struggle here at home. Detroit playing some really good hockey right now. I think they can keep that going. 2 wins in a row, and that was in 3 games in 4 days. Their last game there, they've won 8 of their last 10. They're 8-1 in their last 10. So only 1 regulation loss. That was the last game before the 4 Nations break against Tampa Bay. I'm going to look towards Detroit on the -1 line here. I'm going to punch that in, find the best available number, which it's, I believe, on ESPN Bet. -149 on the money line, +160 on the puck line. Detroit -1, +104. I'm going to take a shot here with the Red Wings.
Are you going to take the puck line on this one, or
-1?
Okay. I still want to do the math on that one.
Yeah.
Because I strongly believe, and I think yesterday would back me up on it, you would have lost the Kings bet regardless. And the Avalanche win 5-1, so that would have been a +170. I know you want to be a little bit safe, but in my opinion, I think you're losing value. That's just me. It's Red Wings run the puck line or nothing. Because when it comes to it, and I was looking at all the different puck lines versus -1s, you're paying a lot of juice for potential push. That's all you're doing. If it could have saved you, instead of losing, you win, different story. But you would have to push like every other -1, you'd have to push in order for it to be worth it. And I don't really see that as worth it. Maybe in the playoffs, it might be a better strategy because they play a lot closer in the playoffs. During the regular season, I just don't see the value in betting -1s. But that's just me. Detroit puck line. We can do that. And I know it's kind of interesting with numbers and everything. If Detroit wins today and the Sabres win today, the top wild card and the last place will be less than 10 points apart. Talk about a race in the East. It's Red Wings puck line or nothing.
Yeah, I have my record this season for spread bets. Now, I believe this does include some puck lines in there because I've taken some 1.5 on bigger favorites.
Yeah.
And this also includes +2.5. So I'd have to, it's only 1 +2.5 it shows here. And that was a winner on Chicago +2.5 in Carolina on January 30th. My record is on favorite spreads. Now, some of them do include first period puck lines as well. So I would have to take a look at.
I just want to know how many pushes you have.
15.
You have 15 pushes.
15 pushes.
How many plays have you bet?
69. 68 favorite puck lines.
Okay. So
I'm up 7.67 units.
That's great. I just feel like you'd be up if it was just puck lines. But I know turning winners into losers, but because the way I look at it, if you lose a puck line, it's plus money. It's not always plus money for -1. But we're gonna end up sitting down and doing that, doing all the numbers on that one. I just want to kind of figure that all out.
Yeah.
But back to Jet.
Yeah. And I do have some puck lines in here of like -1.5s. And I'm seeing a couple of them like that. And first period puck, or I got rid of the first period puck lines, doing the full limiting it down to full time. But yeah, I guess I can take a little bit deeper of a look into that over the next couple of days or something along those lines.
Yeah, seems like a fun experiment.
Let's see, Red Wings and Reg. Yeah, I take -1s. Instead, those are my version of regulation bets because it allows. Now, granted, I'd push on a 1-goal win in regulation, but I would also not lose in an overtime win. So that's also kind of the way I approach it. It's my way of getting the juice down on favorites, but without being like overly aggressively trying to chase plus money. Blue Jackets 9-16 on the road. Yep, they've struggled on the road this year. I agree, -160. That's good, Dad. Hey, guys, have an awesome day. You as well. Going to work also took the under 241 in the Nuggets game. Tim?
I can see that. I mean, the Nuggets have been more of an over team this year, so that's kind of a little bit scary, but I don't know. I'm just on the Nuggets.
Yeah. Over 6, I can see that. Red Wings team total over. That's not a bad look either if you don't want to lay the juice. I have no problem with team total overs. Unfortunately, we can't put those up on the site, which I really wish we could. I can put those up. I like that I'm able to put those up on Cap Protect. So if you guys do follow my Cap Protect, you will see the team total over for that as well. But yeah, I don't hate the minus, or I don't hate the team total overlook as well. Larkin goal. Yeah. Detroit team total over 3.5 and DeBrincat anytime goal. I could see that. Whalers night is going to be dope. I'm jealous. Have fun, guys.
It's going to, yeah, I was looking it up. They're going to be wearing the Hartford Whalers jerseys.
Oh, that's kind of sick. That's going to be cool. Fantilli, Marchenko, Kent Johnson, goal props. I would lean more towards, obviously, Red Wing players, but if you're looking at getting involved with the Blue Jackets, I think it starts and ends with those guys. New Hampshire plus 8.6 at -112.
Definitely got a better line than the 8.5.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What's good, Brio Kelly? If you look, Nuggets haven't gone over 240 in Bucks in Nuggets games. It's like 9 out of 10 haven't gone over.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at their head-to-head now, and this is, and I don't know if this says anything to you. This is the highest total between the Nuggets and the Bucks since pre-COVID. I don't know if that says anything, because there was even a game that was a 215.5. So, and the Nuggets have a 6-4 lead the last 10, but I did not know that, so that's interesting.
All right, we move on to a team I would like to bet against, and that's the Boston Bruins. And this has been a team that I'm going to advocate for fading. Now, it's going to be tough to do that in their next game because they play Pittsburgh, and that would involve betting the Pittsburgh Penguins for the first time this year, which I think Pittsburgh might be even worse than Boston. And one thing with the
Pittsburgh's the worst team in the East right now.
I know, like current form as well, and like things like that. Where Pittsburgh, I think, lost 6-1 in their last game, and I still would only look towards the Flyers in that game we'll talk about. I would have backed the Flyers, and we'll talk about that next game if Pittsburgh won that last game. But let's get that's what I'm on the Islanders at -115 in this game. Is this a bet on the Islanders? Hell no. This is an Islanders team that I do not really trust that much. However, I'm going to stick to what I've been doing since the break, which I'm 1-0-1 on. And I want to fade the Boston Bruins until they lose multiple games in a row. And that might involve me betting Pittsburgh next game. It might. Because I truly believe that this Boston Bruins team is a pure fade going forward. Why? Well, for starters, I don't think they're a good team in general. Like the depth that we saw that the Bruins have had for years and things along those lines. I think that's a recency bias that people will have with the Boston Bruins, because what do they think about when they think about the Boston Bruins?
They're a good team.
The days with Patrice Bergeron, the days with David Krejci, the days with Zdeno Chara, the days with that's not in Tuukka Rask. That's not this team anymore. They're I mean, I believe they have Pavel Zacha on the top line. They're down the center, they're terrible, and the blue line has no depth. Oh yeah, let's not forget they're missing their top 2 blue liners in Lindholm and in McAvoy. I think when you're missing your top 2 defensemen, you are pure fade material to me. And until further notice, I'm going to bet against Boston, which I have a feeling might include betting Pittsburgh in the next game, which is going to eat me alive because I can't stand Pittsburgh, and I want nothing to do with Pittsburgh this year. However, I think it might be a Pittsburgh spot, especially if they get beat down by Philadelphia again. But yeah, for me, until further notice, I was on Anaheim. I was on Toronto -1. I'm on the New York Islanders -115 over on Bet365. The Bruins are bet against until further notice.
I mean, they've lost 4 games in a row.
Yep.
They are tied for. Well, actually, here are the current teams that have at least 4-game losing streaks that Boston can put themselves with. The Chicago Blackhawks have a 4-game losing streak. The Edmonton Oilers have a 4-game losing streak. The New York Islanders have a 4-game losing streak. The Pittsburgh Penguins have a 4-game losing streak. Here are the only teams that have longer than 4-game losing streaks. The Ottawa Senators, 5 in a row.
Yep.
And then the San Jose Sharks, 6 in a row. This is a Boston Bruins team that is struggling. But at the same time, this is an Islanders team who's lost 4 in a row. So I don't really think you can go after either one of these teams. So rebuild for both. And both, although realistically, at the end of the year, could we see Detroit and Columbus drop out of the playoff spots and the Rangers and Bruins go in there?
I would not bet on the Bruins to make the playoffs, personally.
But it's just
I will be shocked if the Bruins make the playoffs. I will be genuinely surprised.
When was the last time the Bruins didn't make the playoffs?
A while ago.
Exactly.
This is an end of an era, though.
I feel like they might be able to still be able to find a way, because that's what winning teams do, is find a way. But I can't go after anything in this game. Both these two teams are really struggling right now.
Yeah. Yeah, but for me, it's just I would like to fade them until further notice.
Okay. Any quick best bets in MLB spring training for today? I do not have any spring training bets. I was looking at the college baseball card. I think I'm going to stay off the college baseball card today. If I'm betting anything, it's BYU or nothing. But there's not any good games for today. And I haven't looked at spring training. So, because the way I'm seeing it, I'm betting college baseball every single day pretty much. So I'm betting that instead of spring training, because I feel like I have a little bit more of an edge on that one.
How's college baseball been this year?
I have to update my spreadsheet from yesterday. Going into yesterday, I was 46-46, up 4.35. Xavier won. Georgia State didn't. Liberty won. UAB didn't. Florida Gulf Coast didn't. SELA didn't. Dalbap lost. Bakerfield lost. ECU won, but Jacksonville lost. So down a little bit. Yesterday was not as good, but I took a bunch of plus money shots with smaller schools. So
that's fair.
Oliver Warstrom goal.
Well, that's a great angle. Wallstrom, who is this season waived by the New York Islanders. Yeah,
Pasta?
great angle. Pasta, I mean, I won't talk to you all about Pasternak, yeah.
Good underdog in NBA and good over also.
He's asking for an over and underdog.
I took the Magic. And I didn't take any totals in the NBA, so I don't know. What's Islanders and Regnick?
Give me 2 seconds. I can get that for you. Over on Pinnacle, it's plus 140. And I'm not. The only reason I said Pinnacle is because that's the only one that BetStamp shows me. I'd have to go through and shop around.
Fair enough. Speaking of those Penguins, Nick.
Pass. Moving on.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go to
I don't know. Pittsburgh Penguins and Philadelphia Flyers. The battle for the basement in the what do you call it?
Metro.
In the Mets. Pittsburgh obviously has really struggled as of late. The question is, do we think Pittsburgh has a backbone here? Granted, they've lost 4 in a row. They've given up at least 3 goals in 4 in a row. They lost to this very team 6-1 in Philadelphia. Now they're back at home. It's a pick'em. Do we think Pittsburgh shows up in this game? That's an ultimate question, and asking of the character of Sidney Crosby and of Evgeny Malkin and Erik Karlsson.
Why didn't they trade Crosby?
Trade deadline's not for another 8 days, so I believe March 7th is the trade deadline for the NHL. Philadelphia has played really well. And actually, not only, damn it, I'm going to have to bet Pittsburgh in this game, aren't I? Not only is this a 6-1 loss revenge game from 2 days ago, these two teams played the last game before the Four Nations break, and there was a 3-2 Flyers win. And a game where the Pittsburgh Penguins actually outshot them 33-20 in that game, and then they followed up by getting embarrassed here. Am I going to make my first bets on Pittsburgh, and it's going to be the next 2 games against Philadelphia and Boston? I might be on the Penguins here in this spot. Not only is this a revenge spot, it's a double revenge spot here for Pittsburgh. And we're in Pittsburgh this time. Both those were on the road. And when you look at Pittsburgh, they're 10-16-5, so 10-21 on the money line on the road. But back in Pittsburgh, it's not very much better. 13-12-4, so 13-16 on the money line. Damn it, this is Pittsburgh money line, isn't it?
I'm taking the puck line. Sorry. I'm doing that, and I'm actually gonna actually put my plays for Red Wings puck line. I'm going to put my plays on Twitter today. So I'm going to take the Penguins here. You said recent revenge spot, and it's a double revenge spot. And it was coming off of a blowout. And I can get plus 220 on the Penguins puck line. So let's go ahead, grab the Penguinos today. As much because – and this – I don't want to do this because if the Sabres win and the Penguins lose, the Sabres jump the Penguins. So I don't want the Penguins to win games, but at the same time, both these two teams were trying to catch, so it doesn't matter. I'm going Penguins puck line in this one, so plus 220 on the flightless birds.
Yeah, over on FanDuel, I got minus 105 on the money line. I'm taking Pittsburgh in this game. As I almost just threw up in my mouth there for taking Pittsburgh in a game. But I'm on Pittsburgh money line in this game. First time this season. Feel gross.
Back to your chat.
Yeah. Owen Tippett goal. Flyers team total over. Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid play too. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the game that the Flyers team total over hits, but the Penguins win. Like a full game over makes a lot of sense in this game. And it's a 5.5. I want to take the over in this game too, maybe. I don't know. Let's get it. Good luck today. Let's go. What's up, Stop Gio? Mishkov point. He's been playing better as of late. Morgan Geeky goal. He's been playing good. Yeah. Flyers are a lock. They're a lock, Tim. Flyers are a lock.
But real quick, I want to, before we jump into the next game, there are currently 100 people watching on my Twitter. Want to let you guys know that we are also live on the Earle Sports Bets YouTube channel. If you guys want to go and follow us and subscribe to us over there, I figure I'll let you know because I see 101 people currently watching on my personal Twitter. So come on, join the YouTube live stream. You can comment in there, and we'll pull up your comments and we'll answer any questions. So I see 102 people currently in the Twitter feed. So if you guys are over there and want to come say hi, make your way over. Earle Sports Bets on YouTube. Anyways.
Yeah. Let's get into it. A game where I wanted to back one team, but not at this price. I want Montreal. I do. But let's get into it. We had the Montreal Canadiens taking on the San Jose Sharks. Canadiens, though, minus 215 favorites. I want nothing to do with the Canadiens at this big of a favorite number. Pretty plain and simple. Montreal has come out of the break playing well. They've won both games. They won 5-2 against Ottawa. They won 4-0 against Carolina. And looking at this spot here for Montreal or for San Jose, they've really struggled. Granted, they gave a fit to Winnipeg in the last game as a 4-1 dog, losing 2-1 in overtime. But previous to that, I mean, they've lost 9 of their last 10 games. So there's no way to sugarcoat it. I can't back the Sharks right now. They've shown me nothing. Even at a big night, plus 170 against the Montreal Canadiens seems very appealing. But I would play a puck line on Montreal before I'd play the money line on San Jose in this game here. And one big reason why, I was advocating for this heading out of the break. This is one team I've been right on heading out of the break. I said nobody needed the break more than the Montreal Canadiens did. With the way they limped into the finish there, losing 7 of 8, 3 in a row heading into the break, they ran out of gas before the Four Nations. They desperately needed it. And now that they got that break, they've been playing much better. They limited Carolina to no goals, 20 shots on goal. So they were amazing defensively in that game. Maybe an under, because I think the Sharks offensively have kind of been struggling as of late. They have failed to score more than 3 goals in 8 straight games. So this has been a Sharks team that offensively has struggled a little bit as of late. So for me, it's Montreal puck line or no bet. That's the only way I can look at this game, but I just can't get involved with this one here. I think that this is just too big of a number. I think I typed in the -1 for Montreal's minus 141. No thank you on that one. So stay off spot for me, but I can only look towards the Hapathons.
Now, here's an interesting question. Do you think this spot could be kind of I don't want to say look ahead spot, but you just played, since coming back from the All-Star break, you've played Ottawa and Carolina. Ottawa you're trying to catch. Carolina is an Eastern Conference opponent. Now you're going up against the Sharks. And then you get back-to-back games against Buffalo, two Eastern Conference Divisional opponents. And I'm not saying that Buffalo, whatever, but could this be a spot that Montreal kind of can overlook the Sharks? Seeing that, it's just a Western Conference opponent. This game could easily go to overtime.
I was going to say plus 250 for a draw.
And Sharks win in overtime. Like, I could easily see that this game kind of get overlooked by Montreal, especially coming off of a big win against Carolina. And wasn't that in Carolina?
No.
Okay. But I pulled it up quickly, yeah. But they're coming off a big 4-0 win. Now, I think they're just too big of favorites. I'm going swimming with the Sharks, plus 180 on the Sharks money line.
Fair. And I think it's summed up perfectly for me with what Robert said. No Askarov, no Sharks.
Sharks.
Montreal first period puck on. That's a good way to go at it. And Caulfield anytime goal. Maybe it's a Montreal team total over if you like that. We all know defensively the Sharks have been one of the worst teams in hockey this year. I want to take a look real quick. I believe they are the worst in shots on goal allowed per game. If I remember right, they're a team that just gives up way too many shots on goal, and I believe they're the worst in the NHL for that. Let me take a look real quick. Shots allowed per goal. Anaheim and then San Jose, and it's separated by 0.11 shots on goal. 3.68 goals allowed per game. They're the worst defensive league team. So yeah, maybe Montreal team total over. If you want to back Montreal in this game, which I'm gonna take a look what that is real quick. It is 3.5 and minus 120. I think that is a much better way than going, because I think if Montreal wins and covers the puck line, they score 4 goals. Caulfield goal, Celebrini goal. Yeah, this is a good way to showcase some young talent. Toffoli goal versus old team. Been on so many teams that yeah. Mavs race to 40 both halves plus 115. And then so late personal reasons. Hope didn't miss hockey. You've missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games.
Well, Nick, hold on, Nick. Ice Extra Sky here. All right, let's go ahead and start back up at the top. Let's go Sabres. Kidding. Let's roll on to the next game.
Let's get into it. We have the St. Louis Blues and the Washington Capitals. Capitals minus 160, minus 165 favorites in this game, a total of 5.5 in this spot. Feel like you guys should know where I'm going in this game already. But let's get into it. Washington, they're coming off of a 3-1 loss against the Calgary Flames. The game was kind of evenly matched. Calgary scored a late goal, and they won and took care of business, which doesn't surprise me that Washington scored 1 goal against Calgary. They scored 15 the previous 2 games. They scored 7 against Edmonton, 8 against Pittsburgh. This was a Washington team putting up goals. Now, does it excite me to back St. Louis off of a massive win like they did against Seattle, 7-2? Not exactly. But you look at coming in out of the Four Nations break, they forced an overtime game with Winnipeg, who has won 11 games in a row. We'll talk about Winnipeg in a couple games. And then they beat Colorado and they beat Seattle. I think the St. Louis Blues are a bet-on hockey team. I took a half-unit shot on them at 11-1 to make the playoffs yesterday. So this is a team that I'm invested in now in their success the rest of the season. I got plus 140 with them, with the St. Louis Blues in this one here. I think this is too wide of a line. And one thing that actually makes me a little bit more excited about backing St. Louis in this game is Charlie Lindgren in net. Now, granted, it's Joel Hofer as well. But Lindgren is a downgrade, I think pretty decent downgrade from Logan Thompson, who could have considerations for Vezina trophies this year. So I look for St. Louis to be bet on in the second half in the last 25 or so games during the regular season. I think they are live to make a comeback and make the playoffs because, Vancouver won last night, unfortunately. But, these are 2 teams that are my bad, this is not the Flames we're talking about. But this is a team that's chasing Vancouver that I think can pass them and make the playoffs. So I think the Blues are bet on going forward. I got the St. Louis Blues at plus 140.
Okay. At what point do you think the Washington Capitals kind of take their foot off the gas?
Wouldn't shock me.
Be like, all right, we're safe to make the playoffs. We're not going to win the President's Trophy. Let's just get the playoffs healthy.
Yeah, I think that. Well, I'm going to take a look real quick. Let's take a look. They are 14 points up on the Carolina Hurricanes for the division, and there are 24 games remaining for both teams. So, do the math. I think once they clinch the division is when they're going to take their foot off the gas. And I know I've been saying I can't wait to fade them in the playoffs. Because you're going to have a Washington Capitals team who is so far and above everybody else in the Eastern Conference. They're 10 points in front of Toronto. That they're going to coast with the 1 seed. And then they're going to get a New York Rangers. They're going to get Columbus Blue Jackets, a Detroit Red Wings, who have been playing meaningful competitive hockey until the very last game of the regular season. They're already in playoff mode. Capitals will not be. And this is where you bet that team, game 1 of that playoff series, you bet them to win that playoff series against Washington. It's going to be a little bit of a longer series, like probably what we saw with Boston and Florida a couple years ago. But the Washington Capitals will not make it out of the first round.
It's a bold take.
I said that with the Boston Bruins a couple years ago when they had their big run. I could definitely see that here in this one.
Back to the chat.
Yep. Let's see. LMA jerk. Yep. Blues. Yes. Thank goodness. I bet the way I did for Sabres Canes, huh?
He took the draw, and then he took draw on Carolina to win.
Oh, that's fun. Blues draw and same game parlay for the 2. Love it. Kyrou goal. Robert Thomas assist. Love it more. Yeah. Chikrin point. He's been good for Washington. Over 5.5. Pierre-Luc Dubois point. Ovi goal and over shots. Yeah, I won't talk anybody off of Ovechkin props the rest of the season because
Apparently he's chasing Wayne Gretzky's record.
Yeah,
I just heard that the other day.
He's chasing Wayne Gretzky or something like that.
It's Dwayne Gretzky.
Dwayne Gretzky, that's what it is. Though. All right. How about a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup Finals? We have the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. Yes, they have played since Game 7 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It was on December 16th.
Yeah, Florida won.
It was a 6-5 Florida win in Edmonton. I was on the over. We have Florida coming in off of a 4-1 win against Nashville in their last game, which was a nice little bounce back after losing 2-1 to the Kraken in their first game back. The Oilers have really been struggling as of late. They do go to Carolina on March 1st before the end of their road trip, and then they will return home in Edmonton to play Anaheim on March the 4th. I can imagine that I either want to bet Edmonton this game, next game, or both. For me, this is Edmonton or no bet. And I did back Florida in the last game, and I did bet Edmonton in the last game. I do not see the Oilers getting swept in this road trip. I don't. I think they either get Carolina or Florida. And I think ultimately I'm going to stay off this spot. And if Edmonton loses this game, I will back them against Carolina in there. I think that they are better odds to beat Carolina than they will the Panthers. I know a lot of people are going to be like, but that's the last game of the road trip. You don't want to get swept on your road trip.
Correct.
And I think that if they lose to Florida tonight, that'll turn up the intensity even more in Carolina for them on the 1st. And I will look to back Edmonton in that game. So no play here for me. It would be Edmonton or no bet, though.
I will say there's been a little bit of a line movement in this game. Because when I typed up I used Bovada. And it was Panthers minus 120. Now Panthers are minus 142. So a 20-point line movement since we started the show about an hour ago.
Tells me maybe Calvin Pickard's in that.
Tells me that I'm taking the Panthers puck line plus 175. I could see the Panthers being up late and an empty netter. That's kind of my thinking when I take puck lines. Is I'm thinking that it's not a tie game late in the game. I'm thinking that my team's winning. The team that I bet is winning, and they're about to go and hit an empty netter, and that's how they cover the puck line. Plus 175 for a puck line here. I'm going to keep riding with some big plus monies because that's how I bet hockey. Because I look today, plus 205, plus 165, 220, 180, 175. Those are my 5 NHL bets at the moment. And I'm gonna keep betting that way because, hey, I feel like I can really make profit. So, puck line, Panthers.
Fair. Oilers and Reg. Well, it's gonna. Then you know what that probably tells me? That money is coming in on Florida, and they're overreacting to the 4-game losing streak that Edmonton's on.
Maybe.
Draisaitl 2 goals. Nashville ain't getting any more of my money this year. No comment.
I was about to say no comment.
No comment. Because, wait. We can bring it up now. We have the Winnipeg Jets and the Nashville Predators. The Jets minus 130 road favorites, total of 6 in this game. Now, we have the Winnipeg Jets that are coming in on a second half of the back-to-back. They beat the Ottawa Senators 4-1 last night. It was, I believe, Hellebuck in net, so it's going to be Comrie in net tonight for the Winnipeg Jets. On the flip side, we have the Nashville Predators. They're coming in off of back-to-back bad losses where they're outscored 9-1. And this is not only a second half of a back-to-back for Winnipeg, but there's been travel involved. They were in Winnipeg, then they went to Ottawa, and now they're going to Nashville. You're crossing over time zones as well, which is not fun. Oh, yeah. Winnipeg's on an 11-game winning streak, by the way. That's a really nice winning streak. It'd be a real shame if Nashville ended it. Right? Give me Nashville in this 1 plus 117. Damn it, I'm back on the Preds again. They've looked terrible this year, 20, 30, and 7. However, I saw a stat in the Ice Guys chat that I thought was kind of interesting. They've played 7 games against the Central Division this year, the Nashville Predators. They're 6-1. They're really good against their own division. When you look at what they've done versus the Central this year, their only loss was a 3-0 loss to this Winnipeg team. right? Or am I mistaken here? Or they're 6-1 their last 7 against their own division? Because I saw they lost the opening game at home, 6-1 at home against their division this year, which was a 2-1 win over Colorado. I was on them in that game. It was a 6-2 win against Minnesota. I was on them in that game. It was a 3-2 overtime win against Chicago. I'm trying to find the only loss they've had against their division at home this year. And that would be, they beat Winnipeg 4-1 at home earlier in the year. Same matchup, Eric Comrie versus UC Saros. They beat Colorado. I cannot find their loss at home this year against their division. Why? It might have been. I don't see it. Weird. But yeah, they've been really strong at home against their own division this year, and I'm on Nashville in this spot. I know it's going to get a lot of hate back fading a team on an 11-game winning streak. When you get up to that high of a winning streak, I'd rather bet against you than bet on you. Pretty plain and simple in my book. So I am going to be on the Nashville Predators in this game. I know it's not going to be liked by very many. I'm fading the top 2 teams in the NHL tonight. Fading Winnipeg, fading Washington. So I'm on Nashville here, plus 117.
You're a bitch.
You're going reverse puck line.
I'm going reverse puck line.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Plus 265. And I know I've been a sucker for the damn Predators this year. It is what it is. I don't care. And this line is moving down because I'm starting to see
probably some reactions to Comrie being in that.
I'm starting to see 130s, but it's a horrible traveling spot. And the fact that a team, and I know it's a division rival, whatever, you got the number 1 team in the league, and you've got a team that can't get out of their own way and is third to worst. They're one of the Predators are one of 3 teams under 50 points. They put themselves in a category with the Chicago Blackhawks and the San Jose Sharks. This game's practically a pick'em. That's enough for me. Give me the Predators. I'm taking the reverse puck line plus 265. If we're gonna go after ugly, we're gonna get really ugly.
We're gonna get real ugly. We're gonna get paid for it, right?
Yes, we are. So give me the Preds here. Puck line.
Fair. Woo! Preds money line draw, same game parlay at the 2. I don't hate that at all. Because I have a feeling when Winnipeg loses their winning streak, it's going to be in overtime. It's not going to be in regulation. It's going to be an overtime loss.
I disagree. I think that Winnipeg loses. The thing is, we could easily come back tomorrow and go, man, I can't believe Nashville actually won 6-1 last night.
They lit up Eric Comrie.
Would you be surprised?
Yeah, you can get a team total over 2.5 minus 140 on FanDuel if you want that with Nashville instead. If you just want them to score goals against Comrie and take out what UC Saros is going to do against Winnipeg, their team total over, and you can probably get a 3 at a decent number on some books too. Okay. Panthers money line, Wings -1, Jets money line, and Sabres. I'm against a couple of those, but I'm on the Wings. I'm on the Sabres with you. I could imagine the Preds being up and the Jets tying it late. OMG, here we go. Jets come back, and then boom, Preds win. Sometimes massive line movements, you take the other team. I have noticed that as well a little bit in hockey. When there's a big line movement in my way, it usually doesn't end well for me. But if it moves against me, it generally actually does pretty well. So we'll see. The NHL is the only one I don't care about line movements. I don't. I care about it in NBA, NHL, or MLB, NFL. But yeah. We'll move on. The Winnipeg, wrong game. Minnesota Wild and the Utah Hockey Club. Yes, I saw you typed up Coyotes there. -165 here for Utah. That's an interesting line there. Total 5.5 in this game. These two teams played on January 23rd. I thought I read that quick, and I thought it was February 23rd. No. Utah, back-to-back wins after a 5-3 loss against the Kings to open up their after the Four Nations. They beat Vancouver, and they beat Chicago. Okay. Minnesota coming in off of a loss against the Detroit Red Wings, 3-2. Their previous game was a win against the Red Wings. So they've played the Red Wings twice since coming back. And this is a Minnesota Wild team that is dealing with some injuries here. And I think it's going to hurt them with Eriksson Ek, who is out long-term. And if I'm Bill Guerin, I'm already on the phone with Lou Lamoriello seeing what he wants for Brock Nelson, because he would fit in that role really well for Eriksson Ek if he's going to be out long-term. That would be a perfect fit for the Minnesota Wild. I think that would be the best move that they can go out and do, because it's not going to cost you that much for Brock Nelson. It may be a decent prospect in a second-round pick or something like that. It may be a first-round pick, something like that. I think first-round pick might be pushing it a little bit, but even though Minnesota probably be picking towards the back of the first round, though, because they're a playoff team this year. I truly still believe that, which is going to be hilarious when they lose in the first round of the playoffs again. Who would they play right now? Yeah, I'm not betting.
Dallas.
Yeah, I'm taking Dallas in that series pretty easily. But once it would be
Dallas.
Dallas, yeah. And Dallas would have home ice advantage. But it wouldn't surprise me to see the Wild get passed up by Colorado and then have to play Winnipeg. No, Vegas. They'd have to play Vegas in the first round.
Oh, they would lose to Vegas.
And I would take Vegas in that series too. The Minnesota Wild are basically the Toronto Maple Leafs Western version, where they have to win in the first round before I believe in anything they do. I think this could be, and I said earlier, I think this could potentially be the year they win in the first round. And then next year they make a deeper playoff run, especially when the Parise money comes off the books, the Suter money comes off the books, and they could do a little bit more. That could be a team you look out for, Minnesota, next year, that I might have some decent futures on. But for me, I'm staying off this game.
Can we look at tomorrow's card real quick? 9 o'clock, Minnesota Wild head into altitude into Colorado.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's an interesting spot. I'll be on Colorado -1 in that game probably.
I look at that and go, is this a look-ahead spot for Minnesota?
Maybe.
Maybe Utah's a ginormous-ass favorite for a reason. It's Utah puck line or nothing. I'm not going to go after this one, but depending on how tonight's game goes, it could be a Minnesota play tomorrow. I feel like Minnesota might be the play tomorrow.
No, if other way.
If they lose, but we'll see. I don't know. This one's a tricky game. I think I'm gonna get to one more game the rest of the card.
Fair. I want to shop around.
It's gonna be
this next game.
And it's gonna be the last game.
Yeah, I want. Are you able to touch back on the chat? I want to look for the next game we'll talk about. I want to see, because it's not showing me those type of odds on Betstamp.
Utah Hockey Club puck line.
Yeah, probably be my lead in that game.
Logan Cooley goal, Gunther goal. How about the under 5.5, Nick?
I can see it. Utah's been playing a little bit lower scoring hockey. Okay, that's not worth it.
Okay.
I was looking up odds for one play for this upcoming game, and it's -160.
Yeah,
I was trying to see what +2.5 with the Blackhawks would pay. But let's get into it. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Chicago Blackhawks, -420. Nice for the Vegas Golden Knights. Total of 6. You can mark me safe from betting the Vegas Golden Knights in any way, shape, or form in this game here. Do I want anything to do with Chicago? The easy answer is no. They've lost 4 in a row. They've lost 7 of their last 8. They've lost 8 of the last 10. Unleash the tank. They're going for the number 1 overall pick again. They're 17-34-7. And it would not surprise me to see them get the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft. And totally, it would go over so smoothly, and nobody would be pissed off about that at all. One thing we have noticed, and one of the group chats I'm in has mentioned this a few times, Chicago first periods have been really strong, and then they fade late in games. And they've scored in the first period pretty consistently over the last little bit. It would be Chicago first period +0.5 for me, or no bet. That would be the only way I would look in this game. And you can get Chicago first period +0.5 at -115. I think that's a strong bet. If you're looking to back the Blackhawks, I would cut it down to 20 minutes. I would also lean under in this game. Would it surprise anybody if this is a workman-like effort from the Vegas Golden Knights? They play a little bit of a defensive shutdown game, and this game finishes 3-1, 4-1. And this game stays under 6. You can even, it's on Matchbook. I don't have access to that. DraftKings has -150 for it for an under 6.5. Matchbook has under 6.5, -127. I wish I had that available to me. But I think this could be a spot where Vegas is coming in off of a loss, a 5-2 loss against LA. So one thing that I would want if it's if I'm betting a big favorite, if I'm looking for a favorite to show up and not overlook an opponent, I want them to lose bad in the previous game. 5-2 against a divisional opponent, I think that's a bad loss in your last game. So it would be an under for me or nothing. That would be the only way I would approach this, would be under 6 in this one.
I'm going to bet the last game, and that's it. I just put out my full card, so if you guys see it, you'll know now. I'm not going to go after anything in this one. This is, it's Blackhawks or nothing just because of the big number, but I'm going to go with the nothing.
Yeah, and I agree with your last play there.
Yes. Vegas team total over. Sure, why not?
I would not be surprised if they get a 3-1, 4-1 lead and sit on it. Like, that would not shock me at all. Let's get into the last game of the card. We have the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Canucks on this one here. Vancouver -120 road favorites, total of 5.5 in this game. And I'm just looking at records real quick. Want to hear my bold take for the rest of the season between these two teams? Anaheim will finish with a better record than Vancouver will. I think that Vancouver falls off in the second half. Vancouver's won 8 in a row against Anaheim. That ends tonight. I am on the Anaheim Ducks at +110. I bet that earlier. They lost back-to-back games. Won in overtime against Detroit, and they blew a 2-0 lead against Buffalo. It looks like they were kind of gassed at the end of that road trip there, where they played 3 games in 4 nights in Boston, Detroit, and Buffalo. Now they get 2 home games against Vancouver and a very winnable game on March the 1st against Chicago. And I do think that this is a spot where I'm going to continue fading the Vancouver Canucks. Did I lose doing that last night? Yes. Yes, I did. I was on them. I was on the Kings last night on the -1 line. This is the 4th game of a road trip for them. This is the second half of a back-to-back. Granted, going from LA to Anaheim is not the craziest of travel. Give me the Ducks in this game. I got +110 earlier in this one. I'm going to continue fading the Canucks, very similar to fading the Boston Bruins until further notice, until I lose multiple in a row. And I've been saying this for a little bit. I do believe the Canucks fall out of the playoffs. I do have +170 for them to miss the playoffs. So I am on the Ducks here in this spot.
Yeah, I took the step up. I took their puck line +275. Once again, if I feel like I'm going to take a team to win, I feel like they're going to win by multiple goals. I don't care how big of a dog they are. I'll take them on puck lines to get big plus monies. So you look at my card today: 205, 165, 220, 180, 175, 265, 275. I'm betting a bunch of big plus monies, 7 plays, and we rolling. So let's. I'm ready for. And I'm okay if I go 3 and 4. That would be a great night if I go 3 and 4. So I'm ready for it. Let's make some money.
Yeah. Gunther goal. Trap. Last night was BS. It was. Blackhawks money line. I will never talk anybody off of a 3-1 dog. What about under 5.5? I don't hate it. I could see. I could see a very similar game to what we saw last night with Vancouver, where it was a 3-2 type of game. And Vancouver got outplayed in that game. They were just perfect on the penalty kill. And they got outshot 26-17. They did not deserve to win that game, Vancouver, last night, and I'll gladly fade them here.
There you go. That is all the games for today. Once again, I kind of want to remind people, because I see 121 people watching over on my Twitter. We are also live on YouTube. So if you guys can, go over to YouTube, type in Earle Sports Bets. Give us a subscribe over there. We're trying to really grow the channel. And we do shows like this every single day. So I do appreciate everybody, and anybody who's watching over on my Twitter. Make sure you guys are following over there as well. We also live on Picks and Parleys and Winners and Whiners. So make sure you guys are checking out those channels as well. That's gonna do it for this edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. Last night was pure money. There you go. That's going to do it for this edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. You know what, Nick? Let's go Sabres.